There were at least 17 different ways to die in the Turnak crucible before the match even started. Electrocution by ceremonial lighting, spontaneous liquefaction from uncalibrated atmosphere vents, emotional collapse from exposure to the pre-battle chant of the Brockkin choir. One could drown in culture before a single shot was fired. The crucible, a suspension-ringed coliseum orbiting a decaying purple star, was designed for spectacle, not safety. Its sponsors, notably the Bloop Collective and the United Vakken Lottery Syndicate, spared no expense in ensuring each combat showcase was both educational and at least partially lethal. And today's event was special. The Intergalactic Armed Forces Showcase. A diplomatic bloodbath disguised as an entertainment gala. Camaraderie through competition, the posters read. Unity through vaporization, said the fine print. Every major military power in the quadrant had sent their best. The Breggers brought a living thundercloud wielding a lightning trident. The Drelk 4 showcased a gelatinous brawler that absorbed weapons and opinions. The Tridari unveiled their new gravity-fold troopers, each one capable of being in 4 places at once and hating all of them equally. And then there was Earth. Humans had been invited, naturally. Galactic etiquette required inviting species with at least 3 functioning warships and a basic grasp of sarcasm. Their representatives had been expected to decline. Earth didn't usually compete, so much as persist uncomfortably. But someone, somewhere, likely drunk, possibly promoted for it, had accepted. And now here they were. A hush fell over the amphitheater as a new contestant was announced. Entry 19B, Warrant Officer Arlen Vex, representing Terran Soul Command. The audience squelched with laughter. On the holoscreen, a slim figure appeared, unarmored save for a matte black bodysuit and a holster the size of a regrets drawer. Short hair, pale skin, eyes like a loading screen, patient, expressionless, inevitable. She stepped into the arena with the gait of someone who had no illusions about being welcome. "Oh no," whispered a gelatinous general watching from the VIP tier. "They sent a female." Several species blinked various quantities of eyelids. "Are humans trying to be endearing?" chirped a commentator, a long-beaked avian with a tendency to editorialize. "Sending a woman sniper into open combat against Bruguk the Fifth Fong? That's not bravery, it's historical reenactment." The crowd roared. Tentacles waved. Glands perspired. One sentient plant emitted celebratory pollen. High above, within a pressurized observation bubble, dignitaries from 11 species shared drinks, data, and subtle assassination plots. "This will be a good morale boost," purred a Zarati diplomat, her mandibles flexing. "The Fong-born needs a public victory." Nothing says diplomatic confidence like a little Terran humiliation. A nearby Kendari war prince nodded solemnly. "Besides, look at her. She's not even augmented. No exoframe. No thermal overdrive nodes. Not even a shoulder cannon. Primitive. Adorable. Already dead." Arlen ignored them. Her boots thudded gently on the synthstone floor as she crossed to her designated zone. She stopped precisely at the marker, 1 foot behind it, balanced on the edge. Her breath didn't waver. Her pulse remained indistinguishable from the background hum of the field stabilizers. To her right, a data screen lit up. Bruguk the Fifth Fong. Height, 3.2 meters. Weight, classified. Weapon, gravity axe, dual-wielding maw. Kill count, 72 confirmed, 9 rumored, 1 poetic. Endorsements, 43. Footage rolled, Bruguk pulverizing a battle droid. Bruguk bending a tank with his face. Bruguk winning a duel by shouting so hard his opponent lost the will to exist. He was a champion, an icon, a planetary holiday on 2 moons. The camera panned to Arlen again. She blinked. The arena lights shifted. The crowd began chanting in syncopated tones. Fong, Fong, Fong. Bruguk emerged with thunder. He wore no armor because he didn't need it. His exoskeleton bore the sigils of his house, his victories, and 1 tattoo of a space ferret he refused to explain. In 1 clawed hand, he dragged his gravity axe, its head humming with impossible weight. In the other, He carried a ceremonial jawbone he'd torn from an ancestor during a rite of passage. He was already smiling. As he reached the center of the arena, Bruggeck raised his arms and howled in 5 frequencies. The ground trembled in respectful awe. Arlen adjusted her holster strap. From the stands, a Flarn ambassador guffawed. "Oh, she's not even reacting. That's either extreme calm or total neural collapse." "She'll panic mid-round," another murmured. "You'll see. Their females are so delicate." A drone buzzed down from the commentary platform and hovered beside Arlen's head. "Warrant Officer Vex, would you like to make a statement before combat commences?" She glanced at the drone. "No." "Perhaps something to inspire your species?" "No." The drone hesitated. "Your opponent is formidable. How do you feel?" Arlen's voice was soft, neutral. "I feel I've been given a target." The drone blinked. "That's all." She nodded. "It's enough." The drone retreated quickly. The referee, a levitating creature composed entirely of shimmering gas and colonial gilt, raised 3 tendrils and emitted a high-pitched oscillation that signaled pre-match readiness. Bruggeck roared again, striking his axe against the ground. Arlen reached into her belt, withdrew a single tool, and flicked it once. Her rifle folded into existence with the precision of muscle memory and math. She shouldered it like an afterthought. The commentator inhaled. "And there it is, folks, the human so-called sniper rifle. Powder-propelled. Barrel-based. Beloved by pirates and museums." Laughter rippled through the crowd. Somewhere in the cheap seats, a little Gorkil asked its parent, "Is she going to die quickly?" "No, little one," the parent said kindly. "She'll die interestingly." In the ring, Arlen exhaled. The crucible locked into place. The lights dimmed. And in the final second before the match began, she allowed herself one private thought, sharp and surgical. "They've already made the first mistake." Then the countdown ended. It was a peculiar thing to be hated before being known. But Arlen Vex had learned that in most places, planets, bases, funerals, you didn't need to earn dismissal. You simply had to exist in the wrong proportions. Too quiet. Too still. Too female for a war built on noise. The Crucible's opening seconds stretched with unbearable drama. Bruggeck stomped forward, flexing his 4 upper arms and brandishing his gravity axe like it was an extension of divine will. He didn't walk. He advanced, each step the kind of theatrical threat usually reserved for villain monologues and collapsing civilizations. Arlen simply stepped sideways, minimal and unhurried. Her boots kissed the stone tiles in perfect balance. No flourishes. No swagger. Just calibrated movement. The announcer, suddenly unsure of tone, tried to recover with artificial enthusiasm. "And the human appears to be dancing? Perhaps stretching? No. Look at that, ladies, gentlemen, and all polygendered carbon forms. She's initiating the ancient human ritual of sidestepping oblivion." Laughter rippled across the stands. It never touched her. Inside her helmet, the world was quiet, noise-cancelled and algorithmically filtered. But more than that, she was used to silence. Arlen preferred it. Silence left no trails. Her internal HUD painted Bruggeck in outlines of light, bone density, organ clusters, exposed joint vectors. The overlay flickered briefly at the base of his neck, secondary spine, unarmored. Good to know. Not useful yet. Her own data profile was mostly blank. Terran command protocols didn't allow real-time vitals transmission. Too much risk of interception, and Arlen didn't like her numbers being public. They were rarely believed anyway. On her wrist was a field patch, still dormant, humming faintly. It read, SCTVEX. OS. Locked. Auth. External only. External, in this case, meant no one. Bruggeck lunged. Not a test swing. An actual committed cleave that tore through 3 meters of platform and appended 2 floor stabilizers. Dust rose. Shards of composite skittered like panicked insects. Arlen ducked under it with all the excitement of someone stepping over a puddle. Bruggeck blinked. or whatever the four-lidded equivalent was. He had expected her to run, or at least scream. Instead, she pivoted and slid behind a structural pillar without so much as a mutter. "Come, little whisper," he bellowed, grinning. "Show your fangs, if you have any." She didn't respond. Talking in combat was a delay tactic. She was here for math, not drama. Still crouched, she ran diagnostics on the floor layout. Every segment of the crucible rotated at one of 5 speeds, based on randomized gravity pulse intervals. Some lifted, others sheared downward into nothingness. It was designed to create uncertainty. For her, it was a static puzzle. On her display, the tiles turned blue, safe; red, unstable; gold, weaponizable. A gold tile flashed under Bruggeck's rear foot. She didn't smile. That wasn't her way. But her eyes narrowed. She counted the seconds. 2, 1. The tile dropped. Bruggeck stumbled backward, roaring, not in pain, but surprise. That alone was a rarity. No one surprised Bruggeck. Not until now. She moved. Not fast. Just right. Her rifle snapped up. She didn't aim. Her body did that for her. 30 years of ballistic calibration etched into muscle and bone. She didn't fire. Not yet. Across the arena, Bruggeck recovered. And now his grin had teeth. "I see you now," he growled. "You dodge well. But that's not killing." Arlen's fingers hovered over the trigger. "Not yet. Let him feel safe again. Let him believe." He charged again, this time weaving through the rotating tiles, his axe spinning in a wide, spiraling arc. She ran parallel. Not away. Alongside. Keeping just outside the kill radius. To the crowd, it looked like retreat. To Arlen, it was positioning. Momentum was a drug, useful only when the enemy was too drunk on it to notice what they'd missed. The announcer's voice cracked with glee. "The human appears to be fleeing. Traditional Terran maneuver, folks, known as the 'oh no, please don't hit me' technique." A guffaw from the stands. Wagers shifted. One hive mind declared early victory and began pre-celebration pollen release. Bruggeck overcommit on the next swing. That was his second mistake. Arlen kicked off the nearest tile, twisted mid-air, and landed on one knee. Her scope illuminated a spike of unstable energy at his left hip, just above his stabilizer node. The axe's own field was interfering with his shielding. She logged it. Still didn't shoot. This was the difference between her and most combatants. They sought chaos. She mapped it. They wanted glory. She wanted data. Her father had once told her that the best soldiers made the worst heroes. She wore that like a medal. Bruggeck tried a feint, low then up, blade arcing toward her legs. She stepped sideways. Not back. The blade kissed air. He growled, frustration building. "You cannot win, Terran. You are soft. You are." She was already gone. Behind a rising column now, recalibrating the rifle. She only had one real round. The rest were bluff loads, enough to simulate pressure, not deliver it. The one shot lived in a sleeve capsule on her left gauntlet, encased in vacuum-sealed titanium. She slid it into the chamber now, silent, precise. The HUD flickered. Target lock. 72%. Bruggeck charged once more, all subtlety abandoned. The crowd rose in unison, certain it was over. That was their mistake. Arlen rose, pivoted, and steadied her weapon. Her eye aligned to the scope. Breath slowed. Blood stilled. The tile beneath Bruggeck pulsed blue, stable, but resonant. Her fingers adjusted for wind offset, impact lag, axis drift. 3 seconds. "Ugh." He roared. She exhaled. And waited. There was a rule, somewhere deep in the League of Galactic combat regulations, that stated all engagements must be fundamentally fair, or at least theatrically balanced. No one remembered who wrote it, but everyone agreed it sounded reassuring enough to be ignored. The Crucible, for its part, obeyed the spirit of that law the same way a black hole obeyed a yield sign. The floor shifted beneath Arlen's boots again, more aggressive this time. The arena was waking up, rolling out its trick features now that the opening rounds of the match had failed to yield a dramatic, marketable dismemberment. Spires rose from the floor like jagged teeth. Sections of the platform began to rotate at erratic speeds, and a low hum built in the distance, a sound the more experienced viewers recognized as the onset of the gravitic snap phase. This was when the real casualties happened. Bruggeck knew it too. His roar shook the support beams as he leapt over a widening crevice in the arena's floor, claws stretched and eyes blazing. "Come out, ghost. I'm tired of dancing with shadows." Arlen remained still behind her cover. A slanted support column, warm to the touch, and dense enough to redirect energy blasts but not physical strikes. Her rifle rested across her knees, her hand gently tapping the side of the chamber. In her mind, the math unfolded like origami. The arena's changes weren't random. They followed a timed cycle. Every 20 seconds, a third of the field destabilized while another section spiked with magnetic turbulence. She'd mapped it out during the first 3 minutes. She'd always been good at timing. Her side ached where Bruggeck's last strike had grazed her earlier. Hairline rib fracture. She could feel the bruise forming under the skin, flowering out from the point of impact like slow fire. Pain was just another data point. Nothing that needed attention yet. From the commentary booth, the voice of the feathered announcer blared again, brimming with forced drama. "Well, folks, it looks like our Terran participant is still favoring stealth over spectacle. Perhaps she's building to something, or perhaps, hear me out, she's decided to take a nap." A few pockets of laughter bubbled in the crowd. Others were beginning to shift in their seats. A fight without blood made for poor advertising. Bruggeck landed again with a seismic thud. The tremor cracked 3 tiles near Arlen's position and dislodged a loose circuit plate she'd wedged into place earlier. She caught it mid-air. It was small, angular, barely anything. But she'd noticed it in the prep cycle, a leftover module from a failed environmental hazard. It still pulsed with latent energy. She ran her thumb across its edge. An opportunity. Her eyes drifted to the sniper round she'd chambered only minutes ago. Still live. Still untouched. Her ace. Her myth. The one shot that wasn't supposed to be possible. And yet, something in her gut pulled against using it now. Not yet. There was a pattern here. A gap in Bruggeck's fury. He was relentless, yes, but also predictable. Strength and size made him assume advantage. Made him assume everything in his orbit would break under pressure. But Arlen had never been fond of orbits. The arena shuddered again. This time, a wall of energy sprang up on the east end of the platform, a temporary containment field designed to prevent accidental ejections. It also cast heavy interference with tracking systems. Arlen moved. Just a few meters. No more than a whisper's worth of motion. But enough to change everything. The light from the containment field refracted off her armor, distorting her silhouette. Her heat signature blurred. For a second, she was truly invisible. Bruggeck growled, deeper now. Less performative. His tail twitched in agitation, and his claws began to twitch with kinetic anticipation. "You think shadows will save you?" He charged the source of the distortion. Arlen was already gone, sliding between 2 narrow towers that pulsed with faulty electricity. The circuit module was in her palm now. In 3 precise moves, she rewired it, looped its core through her gauntlet, tapped it against the platform, and jammed it into a crevice beneath one of the rotating plates. It sparked. Perfect. Then she ran, openly, this time. Deliberately making noise. Not reckless. Calculated. Bruggeck saw her immediately and roared in triumph. "There you are." He gave chase. The crowd exploded into applause. Finally, movement. Finally, blood. Arlen darted over 3 collapsing tiles, rolled under a swinging barrier, and vaulted up onto a narrow ledge that overlooked the center of the arena. Her rifle glinted in the artificial sun, and her body language read as cornered. Bruggeck took the bait. He lunged into the center with no regard for terrain, for traps, for anything but the image of tearing her apart in front of 12 billion viewers. He never saw the glint in the floor. never registered the circuit plate lodged beneath the primary support beam, just before it detonated in a controlled magnetic burst. Bruggeck stumbled mid-swing. Not injured, but confused. His balance wavered as the platform twisted under him in a new direction, shifting gravitational orientation by 11 degrees. Arlen didn't wait. She flipped backward off the ledge, using the altered momentum to hurl herself into a low trajectory roll. Landed hard. Knee to gravel. Rifle up. And this time, she didn't hesitate. She squeezed the trigger. The round fired. A silent, barely visible bolt of compressed metal and gravity harmonics, wrapped in an anti-sound sheath. It struck Bruggeck just above the heart cluster. Not where most would aim. But she wasn't most. The shock wasn't visible to the crowd, not immediately. But Bruggeck's body stiffened. His pupils dilated. A brief twitch crossed his jawline. Then he exhaled. And collapsed. The crowd didn't cheer. They didn't understand what had happened. Not yet. But Arlen did. Because the round she'd fired wasn't built to kill. It was built to stop. His heart rate, frozen. Neural function, disrupted. Respiratory cycle, neutralized without trauma. It would take him 17 seconds to reboot. But she wouldn't be there when he did. She holstered the rifle, dusted off her gloves, and walked away from the epicenter of confusion, her boots tapping lightly over broken tiles. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. Behind her, silence thundered. Then the scoreboard flashed. Vex. Arlen. Victory by technical immobilization. And finally, the arena remembered how to gasp. The Crucible did not go quiet often. It was a place built for spectacle, chaos, the euphoric uproar of being certain they'd never meet mortality personally. But in the aftermath of Arlen Vex's single, clean shot, no gore, no fanfare, there was nothing but the sound of reprocessing fans and one lone Vakian vendor still trying to sell fermented algae tubes to a frozen crowd. Bruggeck lay slumped in the center of the arena, alive but entirely motionless. His armor lights flickered in diagnostic panic. Medical bots hovered at the edge of the field, unsure if approaching the fallen champion would count as heresy. Arlen didn't wait for permission. She'd learned early in life that if you walked with a certainty of purpose, the universe often got out of the way. Her boots clicked across scorched metal, past the faulty containment field still buzzing from her interference, past the unstable tiles she had never once misstepped. She didn't look at Bruggeck. Her job was done. The scoreboard blinked again. Match concluded. Victor. Arlen Vex. Terran. Method. Non-lethal termination via neuro-resonant round. Kill count update. 188 confirmed combat resolutions. A pause. Then a second line appeared beneath it, something not typically shown in Crucible matches. Prior classified records. Declassified. Terran sniper operative. Status. Ghost variant. And then the real silence fell. In the VIP booth, the laughter stopped. Jaws slackened. Even the Flarn ambassador, who had once snorted an entire mushroom festival through his secondary nostrils, leaned back in stunned horror. Ghost? Someone whispered. The humans sent a ghost? Technically speaking, they hadn't. Not officially. Ghost snipers were black classified within Terran Command, a hybrid of surgical strike operator and statistical anomaly. Untraceable. Unacknowledged. Rumored. If someone claimed to have seen one and survived, they hadn't. Until now. In the commentary tower, the avian announcer's chirping faltered. Ah. Well, it seems, yes, it appears, ladies and sapients, the Terran representative may not be as, ornamental as previously assumed. Beside him, the jellyfish analyst, normally useless, pulsed twice and translated, "We have made a diplomatic error." Bruggeck twitched. Medical drones finally darted in, scanning and squealing, hovering between reverence and panic. His vitals were stable. But he wouldn't be standing any time soon. Arlen exited the arena through the tunnel reserved for victors, a narrow hallway lined with sponsorship ads and safety disclaimers no one read. Her gait didn't shift. Her expression stayed where it had always been, blank, analytical, a face carved from the same material as caution. Inside her helmet, the feed switched channels. A new voice. Familiar. Vex. Clean shot. She exhaled for the first time since pulling the trigger. Target's breathing. Of course he is. He's not the target. There was a beat of silence. Transmission encrypted? Always, she replied. Then say it. She tapped her wrist. Arlen Vex. Confirmed match outcome. Kill count 188. Ghost designation public. Mission parameters complete. Another pause. Then. Extraction window opened. You'll be met at Dock 7 in 14. Do not engage. Do not speak. Understood. The voice ended without ceremony. She reached the lockers. Her rifle came apart in practice pieces. Frame, barrel, scope, core. Each tucked into a separate case, each with its own falsified shipping manifest. Antique repair parts. One read. Experimental drink mixer. Another. She changed out of her armor, revealing a plain black flight suit underneath. Clean, nondescript, civilian. The kind worn by maintenance staff or fuel techs. People the galaxy learned never to look at twice. As she zipped the final pouch, the locker room door slid open. An alien stood there. Tall. Kendari. By the bone ridges and the ceremonial breastplate, no soldier would wear off-duty unless trying to intimidate or impress. He did neither well. Arlen Vex, he said, tone attempting authority. She didn't answer. I'm required to inform you that your performance today has generated significant concern. Her eyes flicked toward him. Not hostile. Not curious. Just acknowledgement. We were told you were a last-minute substitution. I was, she replied. You weren't listed in the registry. I'm rarely listed anywhere. His jaw flexed. Do you understand the implications of what you've done? I neutralized a threat. Within rules. Publicly. He hesitated, then took a step forward. You understand the Bruggeck Line is a founding member of the Combat Charter? That this, he gestured toward the corridor behind her, where murmurs of crowd disarray echoed faintly, may trigger review of Earth's combat privileges? Possibly its diplomacy status. She blinked once, then said, in a voice devoid of threat and entirely full of truth, then you should reconsider challenging species whose weapons are quieter than yours. He stared at her. She didn't move. Eventually, he left. The docking bay smelled of engine oil, old air, and artificial gravity drift. A nondescript shuttle waited on Pad 7, white and forgettable. No flags. No insignia. The kind of ship that didn't exist in records and yet never lacked fuel. Arlen boarded without checking who piloted it. Inside, she sat alone. Her rifle case rested beside her, silent and unassuming. The engines engaged. As the crucible shrank behind her, she allowed herself one indulgence. Just one. She closed her eyes. Not to rest. Not to mourn. But to calculate. Another mission complete. Another myth made real. Far below, in the depths of a shattered political order, voices would argue and panic, clawing for new balances of power. Debates would flare. Treaties would crack. Councils would reconvene under the pretense of stability while rewriting the rules entirely. And at the center of it, one truth would echo, quiet and unbearable. The humans had sent a woman. And she'd only needed one shot.